We're ready? Good morning. This is Jonathan Narcisse, and I had the honor and pleasure of running as an independent for governor in Iowa this past year. It was a wonderful experience, and traveling the 99 counties, I learned a great deal. And, you know, we were very pleased with the outcome. You know, we didn't win, but we had, I believe, a strong showing, particularly with the resources we had. We got votes, and we received 1,000 votes from all 99 counties. We received double-digit votes in all 99 counties, and we were able to receive votes 1,720 precincts out of Iowa's 1,774 precincts, or 97% of the precincts voting for our campaign. And so we were able to waive the 99 county campaign that we originally intended. Now, when I got into this, I had originally made the statement that I believed I had a snowball's chance in a firestorm. And even though I win, I do believe that we did have a chance at one point. I would say it was a lottery ticket more than a horse race, but we did have a chance, and we ran to be competitive, we ran to win, but we also ran keeping in mind our original 3 objectives. Objective 1 was to advance an agenda, a strong governance agenda. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with what I mean by that, most individuals focus on the legislative side of politics. That would be making law and appropriating money. What we've focused on is the actual governance side, or implementation. For example, the legislature has focused on should we or should we not give an allowable growth to education, or should we or shouldn't we increase funding to regions. What they have not looked at, for example, is exactly how that money is being spent. And so we've raised questions like, do we really need 45,000 employees for 70,000 students? Or do we really need 3 principals and a superintendent in a school district with fewer than 300 students? And so we've raised governance issues. A governance issue is looking at whether a Lynn Walding is writing a check to his wife's best friend's husband 48 hours after giving a no-compete contract. A legislative issue is debating whether we should or shouldn't have a division or bureau of alcohol, but a governance issue is actually focusing on what's happening. And unfortunately, what we've seen over the past years is that our state house leadership, from the governor's office to our legislators, have focused on securing money or appropriations, making rules or laws or policies, but they have not focused on the day-to-day implementation of governance in Iowa. And so that was one of our primary areas of emphasis. And we began that process by introducing an Iowa Worth Fighting For. And an Iowa Worth Fighting For was a 10-step plan to focus on governance in Iowa. And you can find that at iowaworthfightingfor.com. Now, from there, our second objective was to advance solutions. Because the truth is, it is no longer good enough to point out problems. We must focus on solutions. Now, before I get to the incredible whiteboard we have here, I will talk about some of the challenges we face. But the second major objective was to focus on solutions. Because it's no longer good enough to just talk about the problems. Although we do have a lot of individuals not even willing to acknowledge the problem, once we do acknowledge the problem, we must talk about how we fix the problems. And then the third major objective was developing a 99-county statewide apparatus. And, you know, we introduced step 1 of our 4-year phase 1 plan with an Iowa Worth Fighting For. We introduced that on WHO at the State Fair on the Jan Michelson Show on August 17th, 2009, and we received a phenomenal response. This past year, this gubernatorial campaign allowed us to reach into 99 counties. You don't have to take my word for it. Look at the data. Clearly, we were able to reach Iowans from Lyon County to Lee County, from the Missouri to the Mississippi. And we got positive votes. We didn't get votes because we were the lesser of evil. We got positive votes because people liked what we stood for. That's a strong foundation. And so we are going to now begin focusing on how we build an Iowa party and how we build this statewide mechanism. Now, I'm going to lay out the challenges that we face because that sets up the 16 steps we challenge Governor Branstad and the Iowa legislature to embrace as first steps to fixing our state. But before I do that, I have to absolutely thank the folks at DesMoinesAmplified.com for allowing us to use their studios today. This is a phenomenal resource and facility, and one of the things we're hoping you all will do is contribute to us because they've been gracious enough to allow us to use it today. But the fact is that, you know, as we advance our cause, as we continue to engage in solutions, we need resources to be able to both do things like, you know, pay to utilize spaces like this and also to continue getting around the state. Gas has not gotten any cheaper just because we didn't get elected. So we want you to, at the end of this broadcast, to go to the part of the website where you can make a contribution, and we'd appreciate you making a contribution. I told folks when I got into this that whether I won or lost on November 2nd, we would be back to work on November 4th. And the only lie I told is that on November 3rd, I started working again at this. So I guess, and I did not tell the truth in that regard, but I hope you don't hold that against me because after seeing the results, I was eager to get back to work. We analyzed the data, and now we're advancing an agenda. But we do need your continued support. I didn't quit on Iowa. I didn't pick up my ball and go away. I didn't pout and say I lost. We're continuing this struggle, and we hope that those of you who believed in what we were doing will continue to support this in many ways, including through your contributions. Now, once again, that's DesMoinesAmplified.com. They have wonderful programming, wonderful website, and we thank them for allowing us to use their studios to broadcast today, live. There were three major areas that we focused on throughout the campaign. There was a fourth minor area. It sort of faded away. But the first area what we focused on was fixing government. And we must understand that regardless of the data manipulation or book games that are played, our state is facing a serious financial challenge. Now, we heard about a surplus, but let's put this past fiscal year into perspective. It was an election year, and Washington made sure Iowa did not experience the severity of the fiscal crisis. It will in the coming fiscal year. So we had the benefit of $725 million of one-time monies that were used to fill in ongoing expenses. This money's not going to exist in 2011 and beyond available to our state. Also, we had a 10% across-the-board budget cut and massive increases in property taxes. This was designed to make an administration and a state house politicians look like things weren't nearly as bad as they were. It's sort of like emptying the bank account and cashing, taking advances on the credit cards and going to the payday loan store to make it look like you actually can afford something, knowing that the next paycheck is already gone and the next paycheck and the next paycheck. Iowa is facing a severe fiscal crisis. Severe fiscal crisis. This crisis is likely to trigger a number of things, from additional cuts to tax increases. And we're talking about cutting in tomorrow, not just cutting in the fat, not just cutting in the lean, but cutting bone tomorrow, unless we have responsible leadership that strategically reduces and fixes state government and the budget. And we address that in our 16 steps. But understand the severity of the crisis. When you take $725 million in one-time dollars and fill in ongoing expenses,